Hello students, this is Bushra Sayed, Assistant Professor of Zoology at Siusha Institute of Science. Today our topic is coral reef, which belongs to phylum Coelenterata. The coral are the animals and the coral reef are the structures associated with it. So here you can see that I have given different colors to the coral reef. This shows you that the coral reef is of a diverse color, diverse shape and many other organisms also. Besides corals, the coral reef has many other organisms in it that we will see. So we'll begin with our topic today. So first of all, we'll begin with the first, that is what are corals. Corals are animals that belong to phylum Cnidaria. See, in the introductory slide, we have seen that before coral reefs, I have written Coelenterata. Coelenterata was the phylum and Cnidaria is also the phylum. Earlier, these animals were known as Coelenterata. The animals which belongs to this phylum were known as Coelenterates. Or earlier, the previous name of this phylum was Coelenterata. Now we know it with the name Cnidaria. Here, if you see that it is known as the rainforest of the sea. What corals? Corals are known as the rainforest of the sea. We know that rainforests are the most diverse forest, right? So that is why corals are known as the rainforest of the sea. Okay. Why rainforest? See the diversity. There are about 500 known species at one particular site of coral reef. They are hermatypic. Hermatypic means they are hard. Okay, these animals have a hard exoskeleton. That means their outer body is very hard or tough, which lives in a symbiotic relationship with an algae. Symbiotic relationship, that means a relation in which both the animals will be benefited, okay, by each other. So with the help of this algae, the coral lives in a hard shell, or not a shell but an exoskeleton, a hard exoskeleton. Here in the diagram you can see that one type of coral, how does it looks like. In this diagram you can see that there are a vast variety of corals. See, all these are different corals, and in the first slide we have seen that different colors of corals were there, right? In the coral reef I have given different colors. The reason behind that was this, that it consists of varied colors. Each and every color is being possessed by this particular organism. Why such color? This color is because of the presence of the symbiotic algae. So inside the hard exoskeleton lives the animal, and we call them as polyps. Inside each cavity of the hard stone-like structure there lives animal which secretes the hard exoskeleton, that are known as polyps. This polyps forms a colony. See, coral never lives alone. It always lives in a colony, a vast colony, as we have seen in the diagram. There was a whole colony of the organism. There is no single organism living, but they live in colonies. That is why they are also known as colonial animals. Corals are closely related to jellyfish and sea animals. We know jellyfish, how does it look like? Why closely related? Both of them belongs to the same phylum, that is Cnidaria. Sea animal jellyfish, corals, they all belong to one particular phylum that is known as Cnidaria, and that is why they are closely related. What characters do they match is the stinging cells. They have a tentacle-like structure that we will see. In that they possess nematocyst. This is for the capturing of food. The stinging cells are there for the capturing of food. See here, if you see, this is one particular colony of coral. Inside this, there are small cavities. These cavities possess the polyps. These are the polyps. If you further magnify the polyps, you will be able to see such a huge colony of polyps. This each and every circle or the structure that you can see is one individual organism of coral. This whole is a colony, and each of them is one single animal. And here are the tentacles, the white transparent thread-like structures. If you see, these are the tentacles, and in these tentacles lies the stinging cells, which are known as nematocyst. So, so what are corals? Again, we'll see some description about it. They are tiny organism belonging to group Anthozoa of phylum Cnidaria. We have seen that it belongs to phylum Cnidaria. In the phylum, we know that after phylum comes the class. Okay, in the classification system, the category of classification, after phylum comes the class. So, corals belongs to Anthozoa class of phylum Cnidaria. Okay, what do? They secrete a massive calcareous skeleton and collectively deposits calcium carbonate to build colonies. Okay, this says a lot that it secretes a calcareous skeleton. We talked about the exoskeleton. This is a calcareous skeleton. Why calcareous? Because it is made up of calcium carbonate. It is a stone-like substance which is being secreted by the polyp that we have seen in the earlier slide. Okay, and they build a colony. They are never solitary. They are always living in colony. Hard corals, which are very hard, and the mature corals, they have algae known as zooxanthellae. Okay, this particular algae is responsible for the diverse color of the corals. See, pigment of this algae gives extensive color to coral tissue. That is why corals are so colorful and they are of varied color. See here, if you see, this is a polyp, right? This polyp, in the polyp, if you see at the upper end, somewhere near the tentacles and the mouth, on over the edges lies the zooxanthellae, which is the algae that we have talked about. Okay, so above the nematocyst in the tentacles lies the zooxanthellae. And this is the structure of one particular polyp. These are the tentacles with the nematocyst. This is the mouth, and this is a gastrovascular cavity where the digestion will take place, and this is the exoskeleton made up of calcareous tissue, calcium carbonate. See, in real it looks like this green structure. If you see, this is the zooxanthellae algae. Okay, now come towards the coral polyps. We have already seen that the corals consist of small polyps living together in a colony. A single polyp is a tube-like structure with a mouth and surrounded by small tentacles. The tentacles helps them to capture the prey. So whatever their food is, the food will be captured with the help of these tentacles. What happens during the daytime? It means when there is light. At the time of light, These polyps are withdrawn in the skeletons, means they are hidden inside the skeleton. You will not be able to see the polyps if you see them in light, but if you see them at night, you will be able to see that the polyps will protrude out and will perform the feeding function by the capturing of prey. So this is about the coral and how, what is coral, what is its structure, how does it looks like. And now coming to the next, that is coral reef. This is our main topic, that is coral reef. So what it is a concentrated growth of a variety of corals. We know now what are corals. So if there are many corals at a one particular place, we call it as coral reef. A variety of corals, different types of corals at one particular place, if they are gathered, they are known as coral reef. So they are the underwater structure, they remain inside the water, sometimes in the shallow water also, made from calcium carbonate, we commonly call it as limestone, secreted by the coral polyps. Now this coral reef does not only consist of coral, but it is a huge area. It is a very vast area which we measures in kilometers. So apart from corals, we also have certain other animals, some plants, some other organisms are also there along with the diversity of corals. That is why we call them as rain forest. The coral reef are known as rainforest. Why forest? Because it is harboring so many diverse organisms at a particular place in the ocean. See, this is one picture of a coral reef. Here you will be able to see so many corals. Different types of corals are there. Inside these corals live the coral polyps. Okay, so this is one particular coral reef. See, it is not only this much, but it is a huge coral reef. One of the picture of coral reef. How they are built? They are built from the remains of stony corals. Reef cover about 1,000 square miles of the world's shallow marine areas located in shallow tropical waters. So this much area has been covered by one particular reef. They will grow gradually as the organisms that form their living surface multiply, spread and die, adding their limestone skeleton to the reef. Now what happens when the polyps inside the corals die, the stone will remain as it is, and because of which you will be able to see that that stone will become the habitat for many other organisms to survive. Okay, that will become a place for many other organisms to survive. That is why it is said earlier that it harbors different types of other organisms also. Why? Because when it is died, the stone remains as it is. The calcium carbonate or the limestone skeleton remain as it is, in which various other animals live. So along with the live coral, there are dead corals also, and dead corals consist of different other organisms, collectively building a coral reef. So yes, we will begin from the other topic, that is types. We are done with introduction. Now we will begin with the different types. We'll see the different types of corals. Okay, so there are three main types of corals. The first one is the fringing, the second one is the barrier, and the third one is the atolls. At fringing, barrier and atolls, these are the three main types of reefs. Other types of reefs are also there. We call them as patch reef, bank reef, and there are many other different small rare types of reefs available. See, these are the three main types of coral reefs. The first one is a fringing reef. This is an island and this grey structure is a reef, coral reef. Again, this is an island or a or you can also say it as a shore. Okay, this is a seashore, right? From the seashore, if the reef is been formed nearer to the seashore or attached to the seashore, we call them as a fringing reef. Here you can see, consider this as an island. Okay, this is an island, and the coral reef has started forming just after the island or attached to the island. Coming to the next one, that is the barrier reef. The barrier reef have some water in between. Imagine that you are standing on a seashore, right? This is a seashore where you are standing. After some space, after some area of kilometer, you will be seeing a reef lying or covering the whole circumference of that particular island where you are standing. We call it as a barrier reef. It means that in between the land and the reef there is some amount of water present. This amount of water we call them as lagoon. You might have heard about the word lagoon. So what is this lagoon? This lagoon is actually the space between the reef and the land, the coral reef and the land. Coming to the third one, that is atoll. The atoll reef does not have any island in between. Okay, see, the island is here, is submerged inside the water. Okay, it is inside the sea, so you will not be able to see any kind of island or land here. It will be somewhere in the middle of the sea. Okay, having a lagoon in between. This is a lagoon. This area will be your sea. This is a lagoon, and this is your coral reef. So on the basis of their structure, there are three main types of reefs. The first one is the fringing reef, the barrier reef second, and the third one is the atoll reef. We'll see that before looking at them one by one, we should know uh, certain terms. Okay, the first one is a continental shelf. What is a continental shelf? It is the shallow area of the seashore. Okay, whenever you go to a beach, you will be able to see that there is a slope in the sea. As you will move forward in the sea, it will be getting deepen and deepen. So that is why different levels have a different names. The first one, that is where you usually stand on a seashore, right? We call it as a continental shelf. That is a continental shelf. Then comes the shelf break, that is a steep slope, and after that comes the flat abyssal plain. We don't need to focus on this, but yes, definitely over the continental shelf. Okay, continental shelf is an area having of several kilometers. Okay, it is not like that if you are walking few steps in the sea, your continental shelf is completed. No, it it ranges from 3 to various kilometers. Okay, then comes the this slope. So continental shelf is one term you need to know. The second is the lagoon that we have already seen. That what is a lagoon? It is the area between the land or the sea and the reef. Okay, so the reef encloses the water. Whatever kind of water which is enclosed inside the reef is known as a lagoon. The salinity of this water inside the lagoon is always less than that of the sea. Okay, so coming to the first one, that is the fringing reef, which is attached to the island and it is very close to the land. Occur adjacent to the land with little or no separation from the shore. This is your seashore and this is your reef. Okay, so you can see that there is very little or no water in between the reef and the seashore. They develop through upward growth of reef-forming corals on an area of continental shelf. Here comes the continental shelf, that is the shallow water just after the land, that is connecting the main sea and the land. Okay, that is the shallow water area. From that is the place where you will be able to see the fringing reef. Okay, so they have an upward growth towards the continental shelf. May have a completely shallow lagoon. Sometimes they have a small area of lagoon or no lagoon at all. You can see that some shallow water is there in between the reef and the land. The most common reef in the world, the fringing reef, the most common fringing reef in the world is Great Caribbean, and it is there in the Red Sea. Also found in South Pacific and Indian Ocean islands. Since it is very close to the island or the land, they are very susceptible to coastal development, agriculture, like we perform agriculture there, pollution, the chances of pollution are higher in that region, and other different human activities which causes the sedimentation and freshwater runoff, thereby destroying the diversity of coral reef. So this is also one of the fringing reef. See, this is the land, this is the sea, this is your continental shelf with the coral reef. Coming to the next, that is the barrier reef. Broader and separated from land by a lagoon that can be miles wide and at least a dozen yards deep. It will be deep, the lagoon. We are talking about the lagoon. See, this is the land and this is the reef. In between, there is a barrier of water. We call them as lagoon. And this lagoon could be miles long and dozen yards deep inside. Usually parallel to the shore. Okay, it runs parallelly with the shore. Okay, parts of reef structure often protrude above the sea level as low-lying coral islands. See, here you will be able to see the island-like structure. This is not a complete or a true island, but these are the corals that have floated up, the dead corals mainly, because live coral will never float up. These are the dead coral stones which will float up and you will be able to observe them very easily. Okay, now what did this coral islands do? These develop as wave action deposits, coral fragments broken off from the reef itself. Okay, where do you find the largest reef? That is the Great Barrier Reef. We all know about it. The Belize Barrier Reef. Okay, so these are the different examples of the barrier reef. Okay, coming to the third one, that is atolls. Atolls, we know that it is separated far from land, but it is a ring-like structure. The coral reef is mainly a ring or a horseshoe shape like structure. Okay, so this is your coral reef. This is the sea and this is the lagoon which the coral reef has enclosed. Found well away from large land masses, found in South Pacific Ocean. Okay, so it is very away from the land. Usually circular or horseshoe shaped. Parts of atolls may protrude above the surface, forming coral islands. So in this case also, just like barrier reef, the coral islands will be formed and you will be able to see them from over the surface. This is again one type of atoll reef. Most common in Indo-Pacific region, over 300 are there in the Indo-Pacific Ocean, rare in Caribbean. Southern Mexico and Belize can extend 100 miles in diameter. Okay, so The reef in the southern Mexico, if you see, the diameter of the reef is more than 100 miles. So you can imagine how large the reef would be. Okay. Central lagoons can be several thousand square miles. This lagoon is also not this small. This looks very small since the image has been captured from very far distance. So that is why it looks a small lagoon, but it is not like that. This lagoon covers miles and miles of distance and depth also. Yeah. So the three main types of are over. Now we'll see the other two different types. The first one is the patch reef. Small patches of reef will be there in the ocean. You can see in the diagram. See, these are the patches. Usually small isolated outcrops of coral surrounded by sand or sea grasses. Provide refuge and food for many species of animals and fishes. So we know that this is the main economic importance of the not economic importance, but this is the major important habitat for the various organisms to survive. The bank reef, it is located, it does not have any connection with the coast. Okay, so it is located far away from the coast. Now, how these reefs are formed? You should know that how these different types of reefs are formed. So, their formation says that each polyp leaves behind a calcareous skeleton when they die. Okay, we know this. This elaborates coral reef through time. So, as the time passes, more and more corals will die and will leave the calcareous skeleton. And the more amount of skeleton will be there, the more it will be harboring different other types of species, extending the coral reef area. That is why the coral reef area is such a huge area. Why? Because as the coral reef will die, it will add the skeleton into the reef, and over that particular skeleton, different other organisms will survive. Coral skeletons have various geometric forms, such as they are of spherical shape, star shape, pillar shape, table shape. There are different shapes of the coral. A huge variety of corals are found in the ocean. Okay, we cannot count it. They are of different shapes, they are of different varieties, they are of different colors. Okay, condition of growth. Corals will not grow anywhere in the ocean. They will grow at a particular depth of 30 to 50 meters. Some solitary corals, which are very rare corals, they will be found 8,000 meter deep. I have told you that there are no solitary corals. The colonies which are there, they are very small colonies, so we call them as solitary corals. They are found around 8,000 meter deep in the ocean, which are very, very, very rare. But generally, this is the depth of the coral to survive. Temperature, a light warm temperature is required around 20 degrees Celsius. Adequate light is required. Okay, so adequate light, it means that it requires light to survive. That is why corals are not found at much more depth. Okay. So there are two different types of theories which explains the formation of coral reef. The first one is being explained by Darwin, that is the theory of coral formation. What he said was that it starts with a volcanic island which becomes extinct. So what will happen? The island will slowly subside. Okay, slowly subside means it means that it will go down and the sea level will rise. So as the sea level will rise and the island which will be subsidizing downwards. Okay, in downwards it will be subsidizing. Here the arrow also indicates that the island will be going downwards, and the sea level will rise. So as the sea level will rise, gradually there will be the formation of reef, that is the fringing reef. Following the fringing reef, the subsidence will continue, and see here the island and here the island. It has subside downwards and the reef has been formed more. Okay, so this fringing reef will now form a barrier reef, and after the barrier reef it will become an atoll reef. So this is how the coral reef formation takes place, that was given by Darwin. We also call it as a theory of subsidence. Okay, so he said that first the fringing reef will form, then the barrier reef will form, and after that the atoll reef will be formed. The next theory has been given by Daly, who said about the glacial control. So over the glacial period, the ice caps which are there, due to them the ocean level was lowered due to the formation of ice. Okay, but gradually what happens, the waves cut the shores to make flat platforms suitable for the growth of corals. As the ice caps melted, the temperature increased and the corals began to grow, because now the temperature is favorable for the corals to grow. So now they will grow on these platforms, and the ocean level will also rise. Why? Because the ice caps are now melting due to high temperature. So all the types of reefs were formed on the pre-existing platforms, which were formed by the melting of the glaciers. So there are evidence that shows that coral reefs are growing today on submerged land, and the foundation of the reef are now at a much greater depth than they were when coral first began to grow. So the depth of the coral reef increases day by day. The coral on the upper side, the diversity will increase and the depth will also increase day by day. So in the beginning they were in a shallow water, but now they are in a deep water. So this is what glacial control theory is about. See, this is the ice caps. The island is immersed. The sea level, as the sea level will rise, what will happen? There will be erosion of the land. This land is eroded, forming a forming the platform for the growth of the coral. So the sea level has rose, the temperature has increased, which is favorable for the growth of coral, and that is why the corals will now form on these platform. Okay. So this is the diagram showing you the difference between the Darwin subsidence theory and Daly's glacial control theory. The major difference between the two, that the Darwin theory was dependent on the subsidence, that the island is being subsidized by the increase in the sea level. But here in the glacial control theory, it was the ice caps which melted. It has shown that the sea level has risen because of the melting of ice caps. Okay, so that is the major difference between the two theories, and these two theories are widely accepted for the formation. The next one is the importance of corals. What is the importance? It provides a protective barrier around island and coast. Okay, there is a protective barrier between the main sea or the island and the coast. Slows down what, because of this what happens, it will slow down the strong currents that will hit the shore. So the land will remain protected because it will slow down the high tide which is coming, the huge and strong waves which is coming towards the land. So this will act as a barrier. It will act as in preventing soil erosion also. Imagine if there is no reef in between the sea and the land. So if there is a huge wave that is hitting to the land, what will happen? That most of the land will be eroded. But because of the presence of the reef, it will form a barrier and will prevent erosion. Create more biomass than any other marine ecosystem. Okay, it itself forms an ecosystem because it is a huge, the reef consists of the huge variety of organisms in it. So that is why it will produce the living biomass also, which will contribute in the productivity of the sea. Contribute to local economies. How? You might have heard about different gemstones, the natural gemstones. They come from this corals. So these are the source of those gemstones. So this has provided economy to the mankind. Okay. Other economy is that we know that gemstone, apart from gemstones, the corals, different colors and the shape and the varieties of corals are also used in the production of various kinds of jewelry. Support many species. We know that it supports different diverse variety of species of the marine environment. That is why it controls the carbon dioxide levels in the ocean water, because this particular reef has higher productivity, thus more amount of carbon dioxide will be used up and the productivity, the net productivity will increase. The coral polyp turns carbon dioxide in the water into a limestone shell. So the carbon dioxide in the water which is there will be utilized by the coral polyp to form the limestone shell. That is why the carbon dioxide will be used up and the level of carbon dioxide in the ocean water will be low. Possibilities are there in the medicines and science that these corals could be useful in medicinal or scientific purpose. Very important thing to know that coral reefs occupy only 2% of the oceans. It occupy only 2% of the ocean's area, only 2%, but are home for about one-fourth of all known marine species. About one-fourth of all the marine species. It gives habitat to those other marine species. Okay, so in spite being less in area, they harbor much more other species. That is why they are very much important for the environment. But to date, about 10% of all the reefs have been destroyed. Steps are being taken to conserve these corals and the reef because we know the importance of them. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you. If you have any query, you can contact me. Good luck.